Hey, what's going on? This is Ola coming to you live from my Empire Pro studios. Yes. We got a live session here. We're on the second part of five-part series called we'll call it the uh, ACV, AV C third. AVC third yesterday, which was the first of a five-part series. We talked about attention. So if you haven't seen that video, make sure you go ahead and watch it. All you have to do is search for A by, that means AX VX3C, and you can just put my name next to it, Ola Talks Abitogun and Abitogun, and then we can take it from there. But yeah, today we have another exciting session that we're going to cover. So get ready to hang out with me. This session is probably, I know on the previous session I said it's probably one of the most important part, right? I know I mentioned that, but this one is very important, because if you get all the attention that there is that you can get, and you don't figure out how to convert these people to customers or clients or a contract, if you don't figure that out, then it's just all a waste. Okay. But I remember yesterday vividly, I did say that if you can get as much attention as possible, if you can really become a master at getting attention, I remember saying that you can make all the mistakes in the world, and that's true. Because basically, at some point, you get to a point you realize that you're not converting your customers. So the C is not. We're not talking about C today. We're talking about the V. So I will be revealing what the V stand for in a second here. But essentially, just imagine driving all this traffic, getting all the calls. A lot of people are calling you. You're talking to a lot of people, but you're not being able to convert them to deals, right? You're not able to convert them to contracts. You're making a lot of contacts with people, but they're not converting to contracts in your business. They're not converting to customers. That's another C. But we're not talking about C's today. We'll talk about C tomorrow on the next video, on the next part of this series. But I just want you to pay attention to today's lesson, because it's going to make all the difference when it comes to conversion. Okay. Also, what I'm about to share with you will come in different dimensions. Okay. So we're going to talk about something that will help you drive a lot more sales conversion, a lot more contact to contract conversion. I bet if you're in real estate wholesaling, I bet this is probably the first time you're hearing about contact to contract conversion. Well, conversion is basically how many people are ending up on the next step in the process of lead to deal. Okay, so on one end you have leads, on the other hand you have deals. Okay, so when you actually have a conversation, or you engage a particular lead or prospect, then you have a contact, right? Now, making a contact does not mean they're going to give you a contract. How do you go from having a contract? Sorry, how do you go from having a contact to contract? If you can get somebody to sign a contract with the right numbers, of course, right? Meaning you actually have a deal in your hand, right? If you can get someone to do that, then probably 60-70% of the battle is won. Okay. The reason why a lot of people struggle in this business, or in business period, why a lot of business fail to scale, and instead they fail, is because of this thing I'm talking about right now. It comes down to revenue. If you cannot drive revenue, you'll be out of business in only a matter of time. You have a special message, you have a message for a particular market, and you can't get that message to convert to dollars in the bank account. It's only a matter of time you'll be out of business. Okay, so that's why it is very, very important to make sure you watch this particular part of the series. You make sure you watch it all the way to the end. Okay. You ever been in a situation where you started a business and people tell you friends and family, you're stuck with friends and family? Well, as a wholesaler, as a real estate wholesaler, there are specific type of people that will become your ideal client. Okay, specific type of people that will become a motivated seller. Well, obviously they have to own a home or be in control of a home. Own a home and controlling a home are two different things as far as you're concerned. It's basically the same thing, because if they're controlling it, that means they can get the right signature on paper, and that means you can have a deal in your hands. Okay, but again, it goes back to marketing. Okay, so like I was saying, on the previous part of this series, we talked about attention. Today we want to talk about, so we have the A by V by three C's. All right, so if you want to find any one of this series, all you have to do is simply Google AxVx3C, all in one word, okay, which is basically pronounced A by V by three C's. Um, I think it's with three C. I don't think I have. Let me just make sure. Yeah, with three C, no S. Okay. If you put that in one word and you put space, my name, the rest of the series should come up. All right. So that's very, very important that we talk about that. So now, why am I giving you this formula? Okay, like I know I mentioned it yesterday, but allow me to give you 1 minute. It's very important that I share this with you. A lot of people have things going on in the business, and then what happens is that they get stuck. Okay, they get stuck with I don't know what the next step is. I don't know how to get started. Okay. Which is basically the same thing, right? So somebody that's getting started is basically getting started is their next step. Or some people have closed actually a few deals and they don't know what the next step is. They're confused. They feel stuck, right? And a lot of that goes back to not having something as a go back to, like something like a little bit textbookish that you can go back to and say something that will track like a map. Okay, like a tracker, like a map, like a GPS that will tell you what am I missing. Okay, that's why I created the three pillars. Okay, by the way, if you're brand new here, make sure you go grab this book, three pillar system.com. That's our mastermind. You can join the mastermind over there. But this book is at smartrealestatewholesaling.com. Okay. You need to learn the three pillars. It's the three pillars of real estate wholesaling empire in the modern age. What's the modern age right now? It's digital, right? Everything is digital. So if you don't know it, everything is digital. Like the attention, remember we talk about attention. The attention of your ideal customers are on this. They're on this thing right here. Everyone is hanging out on this piece. Everybody is, people are walking down the street and they're doing this, right? And you see them everywhere. Just they're walking down the street, but they can't even look where they're going because of this thing. So the attention is here. So if you don't find a way to leverage this and get some attention of potential clients, potential, what, who are your clients? Motivated seller or an investor, right? If you don't find a way to get in front of them, you will fail. So having a formula to help you across the digital platform right now, it's very, very important. Okay. It's essential. It's basically, it can make or break your business. Okay. If you've ever been frustrated about the idea of building this business, you kind of like, it seems like you're talking to people, nothing is happening. It seems like you're driving for dollars, you find people by the side of the house, you talk to them, nothing is happening. You've been doing this for 3 months, 4 months, right? But it just seems like you can't even see it, right? And here you are, you go on the groups every day, and then you see somebody else giving another testimonial and posting a picture of a check, and you're like, how come it can't be me? Right? And that makes you feel less than, that makes you feel like maybe something is wrong with you, right? And it's not that something is wrong with you. I don't think it's your fault either. There's just a lot of information on the internet. So you need to find a way to get to the right information. Okay. You need to find a way to get the right information. I know that's a little bit vague. But let me explain a little bit deeper. Okay, where there's lots of information, oversupply of information, the downside to that is that you're going to end up you're going to end up with a lot of information that's basically not useful for you. Okay, does that make sense? All right, so with that being said, the V stands for value. Okay, value, and you've heard that before. Maybe you've heard that before, you didn't know what it stands for. But I want to take the next few minutes to talk about value. Okay, and the first core pillar of a digital business, a digital age business, is really value. Okay, we have value, we have automation, and then we have people. Okay, and we talk about that here heavily, right? And when we say automation, we're just talking about the process. It needs to be automated. If it's not automated, you're competing against an automated world, an automated world. And if you're competing against an automated world and you decide to get stuck on non-automated processes, basically you're shooting yourself on the legs, and you've increased your chances of not being able to make it in this digital arena. Okay, so we cover the three pillars here, but the first pillar is value, and I want to take some time today to talk about it as one of the very important part of this formula, right? The A by V by 3 C's. We're going to cover 3 C's over the next few days, right? But today, let's talk about V. We talk about attention. We're talking about value. Without these two things, essentially, don't even worry about the rest of the 3 C's. There's no point. But once you understand this, then everything else kind of like start to fall in place, right? And in that exact order, right? So, um, value. Okay, when I was thinking about V, volume came to mind. Volume, like VOLUME, came to mind. But the truth of the matter is that we already talked about volume when we were talking about attention. You need lots of it. You need to put out a lot of marketing message, get lots of it. Now, all those people that you're capturing their attention, right? There's a very good chance that you already understand value to a starting point in order to capture that much attention that I was talking about yesterday. But I think it's very important that you understand that value continues through the process of leads to deals, of contact to contract. Okay, so you have lead, contact, contract, deal. Lead, contact, contract, deal, right? LCCL, right? You have that throughout that process. Value is a big part of that. So basically, you cannot advance a particular prospect, which you're getting a ton of them, right? But not all of them is going to end up being a deal. That's just the reality. I'm probably the only one that's telling you that here. Everyone tells you, you find a house, it becomes a deal, right? But it doesn't work that way. There's going to be a lot of numbers you have to go through to find those few deals. I don't know what the number is going to be for you. It depends on how you've decided to set it up. But if you are going through my process, which is something I lay out in full if you go through 3pillarsystem.com, if you want to join our mastermind, you don't have to go to that link. You can go there if you want, but the best way is to read the book, okay? Which we bring it back free. We're bringing it back to free, okay? Right now, if you go there right now, you probably have to pay for it. But if you ask me, I'll give it to you for free. The PDF will come in free. So the PDF is going back to free, okay? Now, value has to play a role. No, you need value at every single one of those 4 steps. You advance people from lead to contact. In order to be able to capture their contact information, maybe you're very good at skip tracing. Okay, by the way, we do offer skip tracing services at 7 cents. Let me just throw that out there right there. You want access to it, just go to the same book, smartrealestateWholesaling.com. Okay, but anyway, from lead to contact, how do you advance a prospect from lead to contact? That's the question we're talking about right now. How do you do that? Right? It's by providing some kind of value, right? But I get it. Maybe you're proactive. You're the cold caller. You are the aggressive, cold caller guy, right? So maybe you can get somebody's contact and just boom, get them on the phone, right? And then you have a contact. So you didn't have to really give any kind of value outside of find the data that you need to make that call. But let's slow it down a little bit. What about if you want to have them hang out with you on the phone a little bit longer, enough to build rapport, much less, signing a contract with you. What if you have to do that? You're gonna have to kind of bring some kind of value to the table. Okay. So now, when I say value, it can mean multiple different things. I'm not talking about a situation where you go to a webinar and you've attended it, you drank the juice, right? And you feel really good about the webinar. You say, "Oh, there was so much value." And then I ask you, I said, "What's the next step?" Then you're confused. You don't know what the next step is to take in your business. That's value. I guess you were entertained. That's entertainment value. It was a good webinar, but there's not to, you weren't really enlightened, right? And that's not good. You need to be enlightened enough to be able to take action. You need to get enough information to be able to say, "Hey, I just learned something new. I'm going to apply it to my business," which is what I really, really pride myself in when it comes to how I put trainings together. I want you to be able to take action based on what you're learning, and I don't want you to be at the mercies of just entertainment value, shock and jock kind of value, right? That's good. There's certain places for that in sales, but I'm just telling you in general, you need a little bit more value than just entertainment value. But the first thing you should learn about value is that it's in the eyes of the beholder. So you may feel like you just gave value, and ultimately the judge of the matter is the person that's receiving the value. Do they feel like they received value? And yes, it's attached to feeling all day long, which is why I acknowledged there is such a thing as entertainment value. Okay, there are bigger channels than this on YouTube because they're simply a lot more entertaining. They're not just as sexy as this channel. The wholesaling idea sounds a lot more entertaining. It's sexier over there, right? So there's a lot more people attracted to it, right? So, and it is what it is, and that commands money too. That's dollars. That's dollar signs everywhere. So I have to basically tell myself the truth that that guy over there has something that I don't have. Clearly, he does, because everybody's over there, they're entertained, right? But the value I bring to the table, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit more quality. You have to be willing to sit through a video and listen to me talk about my 15 years plus experience of this game and pick out the nugget and then go all the way in, get the book where you can have a little bit more organized thought, right? And then you go through the system and you follow a simple system by step, and then you execute. You actually take an action. That value there is a little bit different from entertainment value. Entertainment value looks like mass. And for that type of business, right? For example, like the influencers, right? That type of business, that's where they get the value from that will keep food on their table for their family, right? For me, I had to figure something else out outside of looking for mass, right? So I get mass traffic, but a little bit in a different way, not all hanging out at the one time in one place, right? It's just not what this is about. And you can see that clearly by simply looking at results. So the point I was making there is the first thing you need to learn about value is that it's in the eyes of the beholder. Okay. You don't get to say, "I just gave value. How come you didn't respond to it?" It's because it wasn't valuable. Okay. Very, very simple. It wasn't valuable. Now, it depends on what you're talking about when it comes to value. What kind of value? Is entertainment value, educational value, right? Is it a DIY value, do it yourself value, or done for you type of value? Like you don't have to learn all the steps. I got you. I'll do everything for you. You just get the results. That's another type of value. But ultimately, the if it's value or not, it's in the eyes of the beholder, not in the eyes of the value producer. The only way you're going to know if you're creating value is basically your results, right? Your numbers, right? How many leads are you generating? How many contacts it's happening from those leads, right? And then how many contracts are you generating from that? That's another conversion step, right? All right. And then how many contracts is turning to lead? Those are metrics that you should pay attention to. And in order to be able to get enough, to have enough attention span to be able to track that, you're going to have to go through massive number of people, either over time or in one shot. Just make sure if you're doing it in one shot, you can afford to do it over and over again, because you're going to be missing the most important part of this whole thing if you don't have enough data. Okay. So that's why I believe heavily that data collection is a big part of the game. Data collection can happen in so many different ways. As I'm talking to you right now, I'm collecting data. YouTube is collecting it for me. It's letting me know the retention rate over time. It's letting me know how many people are watching, the watch time, how many views. It's collecting that. Every successful business collects data. I have a whole chapter on it in the book, chapter 3, data collection. And you may feel like wholesaling, what does that have to do with data collection? Well, when somebody tells you to go drive for dollars, essentially, that's a data collection activity, which is a minimum wage job. Okay, because all you're doing is writing down property addresses, and then you're noting if you need to roof or whatever. Right? It's a extremely slow process, but that's what it is. It's a data collection. It's not a marketing activity. It's kind of a mini marketing activity, but you're not really marketing until you're contacting, you're calling someone, you're cold calling, or you're reaching out, or you put a marketing message out there in the front of a target market for people to buy it on. Kind of like you're fishing, right? So it's not really official until you start doing that. Okay. So that's the first thing I want you to learn about value. It's in the eyes of the beholder. Now, I want to break down value into probably about 4 different segments, something that can keep it simple for you, something that you can say, let me go back to my business. What am I doing wrong? How am I not giving value in this process? Right? Uh, Chances are you're giving some kind of value already if you're talking to anyone. If you're talking to anyone, if you're not talking to people at all, clearly you're not too concerned about giving value, because at the end of the day, the second thing you should learn about value is that the amount of money you make is directly proportional to how much value you put out into the marketplace. Let me repeat that. It doesn't matter if you're doing it to 100 people, 1,000 people, 1,000 pieces of value when everything else is equal, right? 1,000 every single day we make more money than 100 if everything else were equal. There's some other variables there, right? So, for example, if I'm talking to someone on the phone, it's a higher quality of conversation, higher quality of connection than just expecting them to click on an ad on Facebook, right? Why? Because it's easier for everyone to put an ad on Facebook than it is to pick up the phone and actually get someone on the phone. So if I can manage to get them on the phone, right there is automatic. I have some level of value going on there. That's just one variable. Here's another variable. If the person already wants what I have to offer and it's just a matter of sending a link to them, right? So for example, once in a while, very once in a while, I get on a call, I talk to someone, one of my potential customers, and I end up sending them a link. I spoke to them, they spoke to me. It's a higher level of connection there than somebody who I expect to click on an ad on Facebook to join whatever it is I'm selling, or to join a newsletter, or to fill out the form to give me a lead for contract. It's just a higher quality. Now, there's money in both. It's just a matter of understanding your numbers and knowing where to play in both of them. Okay. Just like I said earlier, there's entertainment value. There's a way to make money in there. If you know how to make funny and look good on video, and do vlogging and roam around the streets, and people are following you for that. If you know how to do that, that's awesome. You can make a lot of money from that. If you don't know how to do that, you have something else that you can bring to the table, some kind of value that will help you close more deals too. Okay. The key thing is to find a place where leverage for you is going to match up to things that you're not necessarily good at. That's really what you're trying to do. There's a place in there. It's just a matter of identifying it. And it's easier now more than ever before in this digital age to identify what that is, because basically you can test out a few things, collect a few data, and say, you know what, I'm good on this end. I'm a funny guy. I'm just going to make people laugh and then close deals all day long. Or you can be like, you know what, I'm not a funny guy. Let me just create some more content and put some more quality out there. I will have less people, but those less people are going to be 10 times much more valuable than 1,000 over here. It's a matter of finding out where you are in the spectrums of things. Okay. So with that being said, the second thing you should learn about value is this. The more value you can put out into the marketplace, the more money you're going to make. All right. Sometimes it's going to be mass. Sometimes always going to be numbers, though. You still got to put out a lot of numbers. You have to put out lots of value into the marketplace. So I buy houses as an example. That's a valuable thing for somebody out there. How many people can you get this to reach on any given day? That simple one line message. All I buy houses. How many people can see that message from me in any single day? I can tell you for a fact. Okay, I'm about to look at my numbers right now, right? Um, I can tell you for a fact, let me refresh real quick, that at least minimum, just the number I can see in front of me right now. I'm trying to refresh right now. Okay. Um, so it's about pushing out value. The first thing you need to learn is that it's in the eyes of the beholder, which is why you must collect lots of data so you can know what's working for you and what may not be working for you. It's very important to understand that. Let's see here. All right. So I know for a fact, let me see here. One more thing. Because I'm tracking my numbers, I know for a fact that at least 1,220 people have seen that message from me today. Okay. They've seen all about houses. Okay. So the question for you is that, do you know what that number is for you? If you don't know what that number is for you, it's no wonder. Okay, it's no wonder why your business may not be doing what you expect it to do. All right. So value is in the eyes of the beholder. Secondly, the value you put out is directly proportional to how much money you're going to make. You want to make more money, you need to put out more value. Okay. Now, in what form is the next questions and stuff like that? But I don't want to dive too far into that. A couple of things I want to share with you. I'm going to share two with you, and if I have time, I'm going to share two additional ones with you. A simple way for you to determine if for you to basically reverse engineer value and put out more value into the marketplace. Okay, it's a simple way, and you can use words for this. You can express it in the form of words. It could be how you move, it could be how you express yourself, it could be in your marketing message, it could be in the form of direct mailing. You're going to have to do a lot more than number of people you talk to. Why? Because it's direct mailing, it's easier for everyone else to do. So people are sending out mailings, but to pick up the phone and get somebody on the phone, that's harder. So, and obviously the more pre-qualified the lead is, the prospect is, the better. The first thing is this, that to be able to turn your business to a business that create a value added scenario for your prospect. Okay, is solving problems. Okay, you have two things: problem and solution. All right, that's very simple. If there's an existing problem, if you're able to find a solution to it, or at least express what solution looks like to the person, because for the most part, it's about feeling right. If you express the right words, either written down or talking to someone on the phone, in the form of a solution to a problem, you've just added value. Even if you haven't exactly solve the problem. The fact that you share the information about the problem, it's value added. It's creating value. And if you do enough of that, you will make lots of money just in life. That's just how life works. It's not just real estate wholesaling. It's real estate wholesaling, it's digital marketing, it's as a tea business, it's a coffee business, it's a coffee shop business, it's basically a bicycle business, it's basically an online betting game business. If you can make people feel in the form of words or the way just you show up your brand that you solved their problem already, if they feel solution already, you've just brought value to the table. Okay, now of course you can advance that into a higher value, right? By simply solving the problem, right? So they can become a testimonial, right? If they become a testimonial, you can turn that testimonial to another piece of marketing message, and then it becomes a vicious cycle. So you have reviews. That's why Amazon is successful, because they have a review platform where people can feel confident to review, and then they can make a buying decision based off of the review system that they see. So that's one thing. Okay. Let me repeat what I just said. If you can provide solution to a problem, that's value. That's in any business, especially real estate wholesaling. Okay. So, for example, we buy ugly houses. Clearly, there's a problem there. It's a ugly house. an ugly house. Sorry, not ugly, but ugly, right? It's an ugly house, right? And the owner doesn't want it. And that house on their books is a problem. And you show up and say, I buy ugly houses. Well, that means you're going to give me some money and get rid of this piece of ugly piece of S, right? If you can do that, you're solving the problem for that homeowner. And that's value. Okay. So let's dwell on this a little bit. Okay. So you always wondered, how come I spoke to someone and then they didn't want to sign my contract? I'm going to actually read a question here in a second and see if we can solve this problem using this concept, right? The reason is because you're not solving any problem. You got on the phone with somebody, say, and they say, how did you get my number? Well, it's okay if you hang up at that point in time. Yeah, should you hang up on them? Is that disrespectful? I don't know. That's completely up to you and your personal values. What I'm saying is that you cannot bring value to a person who's already has a negative attitude and saying, how did you get my number? Right? You can't give them value. The best value you can give them is remove yourself from their presence because they don't want it. Right? They don't want that smoke, right? So you don't want that smoke. So basically, remove yourself from that situation. It's not worth it. You're gonna waste time. Time is the most precious asset that you have. Don't waste time. You could be if your values, wherever you're coming from, says you should be nicer and say, hey, I apologize. Do you have any other house that you want to sell? That's what I would do. I would ask for another house, a referral, right? Because that's getting myself out of that is the best value I can bring to them. But I can see if I can get some value. Maybe I can help them give some value to a loved one who has a property that they need to get rid of. No, I apologize about that. I just I'm interested in a house. And that's why. But my assistant was able to find your number. But do you know anyone else looking to get rid of a property that they need to get rid of? Do you know anyone looking to get rid of a property that they need to get rid of? Right? and then and then I wait and then I shut up. No, no, seriously, how did you get my number? Have a good day, sir. Hang up. That's value. Give them value. Focus on value. If you focus on value, this business get a whole heck of a lot more easier. That's the point I'm making here. Okay. So let's go back a little bit. Just a little bit. One step backwards. Okay. Solution, problem. So in other words, there must be some kind of problem. Okay. There must be some kind of problem, right? Okay. So you can't go to random houses and say, it's a pretty houses, but I'm an investor. Let me just invest. No, it doesn't work like that. You're going to end up with a low quality conversation because they didn't ask for you to be there. Sometimes they wouldn't necessarily ask for you to be there, but you can ask interest piquing question to see if they're interested in what you have to offer. So based on what I just said, there must be something that you have to offer. In order for you to have something that you have to offer, there must be a problem, okay, that you can solve. Then you can bring solution to, right? Or at least, which is what you should be doing for the most part, if you want to maximize your profit, have information about solution to a problem that you just identified. That's where most of your money is. Your money is not in being the person who actually solved the problem, but bringing information about a real solution. There must be a real solution, of course, right? But the idea that it must be just you creating a solution is not true. It's about moving transactions. If you can move more transactions, meaning you can bring more value by default. So think about it this way, right? You can share information to 1,000 people at the same time because it's just information. It could be just email to 1,000 people, right? So the information is so valuable, it will solve other people's problem. You're going to make a lot more money all day long sending that 1,000 piece of email than, you know what? I'm an old school type of guy, 10 people, 10 people, but I'm actually going to help you solve that problem, right? Just because I'm old school, I just like doing it. Well, you're going to make less money. If you're okay with less money, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But the money you're going to make is directly proportional to value. Okay. So now, how do you create value is what we're talking about. Solution, problems. Identify those two things, translate the information between link them together. Okay. And do enough of that, and you're in business. Here's an example for wholesalers. You may say, but I want to do the deal. I want to see it all the way to closing. I want to go to the closing and collect a check. Well, in that time period that you're worried about that one deal, you could have done about 20 of those and never go to closing and still get your check in the mail or get the money wired to you. It's completely up to you. Why are you making more money for not even going to the closing? Because you're solving more problems. That's how simple it is. Okay. You're solving more problems. So I always tell people in this game of real estate wholesaling, investing, digital marketing, right? If you're going to come in there, find a place where it's not a lot of people doing the same thing, because chances are you can bring more value there. How do you find that? You find an existing problem, a loophole, something that's not fitting right. So for example, with the 3pillarsystem.com, the idea is that people are complaining about information overload. So I created a system where they don't have to experience that and they can learn. But I also know that attention span is extremely low, right? So for you to go through 100 days of training and then you're seeing testimonials every day of people closing, that's gonna disrupt you, right? That's gonna make you feel like there's a faster lane somewhere. There's none, but it's gonna make you feel that way, right? So I also know that as a problem, people don't have money to market to compete with the gurus and gurus. So we created a solution that solved those two problems: information overload and not having enough money to market like a pro, like a professional. How do you market like a professional? How do you have enough money to market like a professional? You gotta have $1,000 to $3,000 a month per month consistently. If you don't have that, you're going to be at the mercy of the guru that's going to tell you to go drive for dollars, because they tell you that's a solution. It's not really a solution for the most part, but there's a testimonial out there. Somebody's making money from driving for dollars. Now you're going to bite into that, spend the next 6 months. There's a high chance you're going to spend the next 6 months driving for dollars and no deals. You're going to get frustrated out of the business. So we saw this as a loophole, as a problem, and then we created a solution to that. It's not just about creating product, right? For the most part, it's just about learning how to get the information about the solution and getting it to the right people and finding ways to make money for being the middleman. That's, after all, that's what real estate wholesaling is. You're being a middleman who connect an ugly house with an investor, and you make money in the middle. Most of the money is made in between. So every now and then I see people come into this game and they say, you know what, I just want to, I don't want the wholesale stuff. I just want to buy a house. I got the money. I'm going to do the deal, and then I'm going to buy it. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Well, there's only one thing wrong with that. The only one thing that's wrong with that is that each flip deal, rehab deal, is going to take you 4 to 6 months if everything goes right. That's only if everything goes right. So there's only so many of that you can do in any given year. So in other words, there's limited number of people you can serve and solve their problem in any given year. And because of that, the money you're going to make is going to be limited, right? So should you do fix? I think you should. But I think you should understand that it's not a replacement. Neither one or the other is a replacement for the other one. All right. A wholesaling will help you with cash flow. You can bring in, if you create the nice operation of wholesaling, that's a lot more transactions. Okay. Now, with what I'm teaching you here, I'm teaching you how to add affiliate marketing to that, so you can create a lot more attractions. So you can have some money coming into your game, the same business. So you can have a lot more money to do more high end deals. All right. But somebody's going to come in and say, hey, because they missed the part that is really about how much value you bring to the marketplace. And when I say how much value, it's not a quality versus quantity type of deal. It's not a competition between quality and quantity. It's strictly quantity. How many people are you serving? Very simple. How many people can you serve? Can you make it better tomorrow? What about next week? Can it be better? How many people can you serve? If you can serve more people, you'll make a lot more money. Keep it simple. Now, with quantity, what you're going to have, you're going to collect quantities of data. And then you can look at the data, create some insight for it, and see how you can improve on that by, again, leveraging value in between all the steps. Okay. So how do you convert more leads to contacts? How do I convert more contacts to contracts? How do you know how to convert that if you don't collect data about how you did yesterday's, right? Well, then you leave yourself at the mercies of listening to what the guru says. Let me give you an example of what I mean. I went to a meetup one day and somebody asked, and what was the question? Somebody said, um, huh, Look, like what's your response rate from direct mailing? So what's your response rate from direct mailing? And a guy came up and said, "Oh yeah, I do about 3-5%." I'm like, "Oh, he's lying. He's lying." And I can't tell you how many times I've seen that. People just pull number out of their ass. You don't want that. You don't want that. That's going to mislead you. Like, for example, somebody say, "Hey, every 200 houses we find a deal." That's a lie too. That's a lie. Okay. That number is not real. Okay. Now, number one reason why that number is not real, you did not create that number. You did not collect that data. Don't run with numbers you did not collect. If you're going to learn anything about this game, learn how to do testing yourself, test marketing messages, test marketing funnels, test a sales funnel, and look at the data, and then learn from that data and use it to improve tomorrow's. That's the best thing you can do. Even if I told you a number, don't believe me. That's why I'm not really a big at showing numbers, because I'm like, my numbers may not be good for you. What you need to learn is learn how to fish, and stop looking at how many fishes I got yesterday. Learn how to fish so you can at least fish one today and see what you did wrong today, and then see if you can get two tomorrow, and then see if you can use tomorrow's data to collect 10 fishes on the third day. Those are the people that win in the game. These are people that are out there in the marketplace, in the trenches themselves, and they're testing, and then they collect the data, and they make the data better by simply learning how to add more and more values in between each one of those. We call them segments. That's what we call them, segments. Okay. So between the lead and the contact is a segment. Between the contact and the contract, that's a segment. Between the contract and the deal, that's another segment. There may be sub segments. It depends on who you're listening to. Okay. But that's the key thing that we want to pay attention to. All right. So let's keep going here. Let's keep going. We're almost there. Almost there. All right. So we talked about problem solution. The other thing we want to talk about is question and answers. You want to bring more value to the table to other people? Question and answers. That's exactly what I do on this channel. I answer questions. Okay. When I answer an actual question that somebody had, that brought value to them. More importantly, for you as a marketer and an entrepreneur, that brought the feeling of value. Feeling. People buy 85% of the time because of emotions. They have to feel right. It has to feel right. But if you want it to have longevity, make sure you're actually solving problems and answering real questions in the right way. If you want longevity. But I'm saying, in order to create sales, there's little mini sales in between the lead and the deals. Every time somebody becomes a contact, a sale just made. Every time they become a contract, you just sold them on signing a contract with you. That was a sale. All right. So all those mini sales happen 85% of the time because of emotions. That's why when you see somebody come at you with, "I'm a straight shooter, tell me what you," don't fall for that. They still have something they care about. And you should focus on whatever the pillars that you learn on how to give them value. What do I mean by pillars? So we have something we call the 7 pillars or 4 pillars, depending on how you want to look at it, that we use to pre-qualify people. We want to know what's the condition of the property. We want to know if it's ugly. If it's not ugly, chances are there's a good chance they're not interested, okay, in what we have to offer. Meaning you cannot solve their problem. Meaning there's no real problem to solve, right? The other one is how soon do you need to sell? We want to know if time is an issue. Time could be one way you can bring value to them. If speed and convenience is going to be valuable to them, then they will tell you in the form of when they need to sell, right? Why do you need to sell? Motivation. Well, this house is a big deal. It's in pre-foreclosure. They may take it away from me, so I just need to get rid of it before. That's value. That's a problem that you can solve. You can solve that problem with value. Okay. And the last one is price. That can pose as a problem. If they want high money for it, you focus on giving them retail deal through a partner realtor or something like that. If they say no, price, I don't know, I just need to get rid of it. Hello. That means the other problems were big enough. They don't care about price. That's another way you can solve. The key thing with those 4 pillars I just mentioned there is you need to make sure that there's a problem that you can solve. Does that make sense? All right. So the other three pillars is like things like you own the address. Do you own the address? Is this your house? Are you willing to sell? You obviously want yeses to that. If you can get yes on that, then there's no problem to solve. Then you should be asking for a referral at that point. You should say, hey, do you know anybody looking to get rid of a property? So that's what I mean by value. All those little steps are ways for you to identify ways that you can add value to this prospect. Does that make sense? So speaking of question and answer, I think we should take a second here to look at one or two questions and see if we can answer it here. Okay. The person says, hello, I'm new to the business. I'm currently working with a joint venture. My first deal. My joint venture partner is in Miami and I'm in New Jersey. For those who have had experience with joint venture, what documentation should I ask my partner to provide me with before I wire the 50K to him? Oh no, this doesn't look good. I don't know why a person is trying to wire 50K to another person for joint venture. That looks scary to me. But who knows? Maybe there's something there. Never know. Okay. Somebody looking to wire a 50K to someone, uh, hopefully has a lot more of it in the back somewhere. Okay. But let's dissect this in the form of value really quickly. Is there something there? Let's talk about that. Let's see. All right. All right. This is gonna be interesting. All right. So she's looking for what paperwork should she ask for before she wires 50K. If she's asking that question, she definitely should not be wiring 50K to nobody. That's number one. Okay. If she had to ask that question, because whoever is trying to take 50K from you should have done enough. If they are authentic, should have done enough uh, to make sure you're comfortable in the form of black and white. They have to make sure you're comfortable. They have to show, hey, this is what we're buying into. This is the business. These are the risks. This is the upside. This is the downside. And this is the level of guarantee I have for you. No guarantee, or there's 50% guarantee, or there's 8% guarantee, whatever that is. They would have shown you paperwork to show that. They would have sent you docu-signs to present that. And for sure, if you feel like they haven't done that, you have to come to a group to ask that question. Don't wire 50K. I'm not sure if that has anything to do with value, but clearly this person has painted a good picture of some kind of value that's making you willing to send 50K. Uh, that's a bad idea. But let's keep going here. There was a question here that I picked on earlier that I really wanted to address. Uh, let's see if I can find that question. Okay, let me see here. Somebody says, for anyone wondering how much some of us are spending on Facebook, I usually have 3 campaigns running, 4 if you count my retargeting campaign, and they all pretty much do about the same as far as numbers, the screen. Okay, yeah, that's Facebook marketing stuff. If you want more information about that, you have to come inside because I need to show my screen too. Uh, all right, let's see here. Okay, so somebody says, on the verge of making an offer when you realize you don't know what to offer. Just my luck to get something like this, my first deal. Any help is appreciated. Okay. All right. This is ridiculous. That's a ridiculous question. Maybe not a bad question, but it's a ridiculous question. In the sense of somebody is asking that question and don't even know. Um, anyone who asks that question have no business making an offer on a house. Okay. What they should be doing is spending their time on educating themselves. Think about it this way. Okay, today we're talking about value, right? How do you know what's valuable? Oh, let me say, remember what I said earlier? Value is in the eyes of the beholder. So it's really truly what's potentially valuable. So even when you know what's valuable to you is potentially valuable because the person you talk to may not find it valuable. Here's an example: you make an offer to a person and they said, "Nah, nah, no, I can't sell my house for $104,000. My house worth 260." I have an example here on actually a podcast I was listening to today. The gentleman said he made an offer of, the person wanted 260. She thought our house was worth 260, and he goes, after having a conversation, he thought he had built some rapport, which we all should be building rapport. That's the entertainment value of talking to these people, right? And he goes, you know what? $220,000 would that be okay? Would that go with you? And she goes, oh no, that's not gonna work for me. But he realized, he did his math first. He needed the number to be at 240. His numbers need to be at 240. The person want asking price is 260. His maximum allowable offer is 240. How do you know what your maximum allowable offer is without educating yourself? Okay. So anyway, if you don't know what your maximum allowable offer is, you don't know the potential value you can give to another person. You don't even know, you're just throwing stones or throwing mud at the wall hoping something sticks. That's a horrible way to build a business, right? So, but he knew it was 240. So what he did is he went all the way down to 220. Said 220 would have worked with it. And the lady was like, "Ah, no, I would need you to be at 230, right?" And he goes, you know what? All right. And then he decided to not talk about numbers for a minute. No, no, no. At first, before he did that, it was like, you know what about if I give you 225? And then the lady caught cold feet and was like, you know what? No, my house is I want 260. My house is worth 260. So the extra asking for the in between, splitting the difference, pushed her back to 260, basically. Right. So there's a book on Never Split the Difference by a guy called Chris. You can Google that if you want, where you can learn negotiation skills. Negotiation skills is something you need to learn because it helps you bring out the feeling of value to your prospects. Okay. So negotiation is not about giving them what they want. It's not just that simple. It's about making them feel like you give them what they want. Right. It's about making them the key word is feeling. That's 85% of what drives your business. Okay. 15%, you know 50, 15% are those people that you could care less about. You could make a lot of profit, a lot of build a nice business with that 85% of people if you just focus on how to serve them. Serving them, of course, for long term. If you want longevity in your business, is to solve their problem. But I'm saying to create each sales is really about the feeling. They need to feel like you're going to solve their problem. If they feel right about you're going to solve their problem, they'll give you a contract. You close more deals, you create more testimonials, and you can do it over and over. If you're out there burning people up, it will come back and bite you. So I need to make sure I say that. Okay. So with that being said, this person, let me repeat the question to you. On the verge of making an offer, you don't know what to offer. What do you mean you don't know what to offer? So you don't have the tools. You don't know what a property is worth. You don't know how to evaluate what a property is worth. So if you don't know the value of a property, education is valuable. I see education as valuable. I've done my part being a market leader by creating a system where you can be educated and earn at the same time, learning, earning, and building empires, right? My Empire Pro. But sometimes it's not enough. I created a system, but you still need to value education. You need to understand that education is that much valuable. That's why there are universities charging 100 grand, 200 grand for a degree. Okay. So that's very, very important for you to know. All right. Then you go, just my luck. Luck? You get luckier when you know what you're doing. Okay. I believe in luck too, but I believe that I increase my own luck when I educate myself. I am constantly learning this game. The reason why I like question and answers is because I learn from the process. Okay. I learn what people are going through, what questions they have, so I can give them the right answer to help them. And it helps me, obviously, in creating revenue, in creating, building my brand. It helps me. You need to value education. Okay. So luck That's a terrible strategy. Luck and hope are terrible marketing and business strategies. Okay, why? Because you're leaving the fate of your business in the hands of fate, and not faith. You need faith. I said fate, FATE. Okay, that's fate, hope, luck. Those are terrible marketing and business strategies. You should only take them as bonus. Okay, you should believe in them like me and take them when they come as a bonus. It's kind of like a miracle, right? Miracle, depending on the miracle, is a terrible marketing and business strategy for your wholesaling or digital marketing business. It's not going to work. Okay, so just my luck. Any help is, well, my help for this person is get the education you need. You need education. All right. So let's see here. Somebody say, hey, any pointers regarding multifamily properties? Have an appointment with the tired landlord this Sunday. All right. So the best, another thing you should note about bringing value to your prospect, to your leads, is you need to have a process in place so that you can save them time in case there's nothing there. Okay, the four-step value process I shared with you earlier, the four different pillars, which is basically what's the condition, when do you need to sell, why do you need to sell, how much do you want. Those four things, if you focus on those four things, you will bring value. Okay, but when I say focus on them, I mean turn them to a system, write them down as your bullet point. In between those four things, you should have conversations. You can have little questions about what they just said, hey, my kids are going to college. What college is that? You could have a little bit of small talks in between to build rapport. Or if you find something you will relate with, you can talk a little bit more about that in an authentic manner. I definitely encourage that, but you should focus on those four core things. And it doesn't matter if it's a commercial building, doesn't matter if it's a multi-family, doesn't matter if it's a single family. What's the condition of the property? How many bedrooms? How many bathrooms? The details of the property. Find that under that section. Why do you need to sell? Why are you selling? You need to know that. When do you need to sell? How soon do you need to close? You need to know that. What are you looking for in the form of asking price or something like that? You need to know that. Why do you need to know that? It's going to help you create potential value. Okay, how they respond to you would determine the next question you ask them, so you can create more and more value. How they respond to you is going to be your measurement yardstick for how for if it's valuable or not. Okay, valuable is in the eyes of the beholder. The market is always right. If the market is not responding to you right now, meaning you're not making money, it's because you're doing something wrong. The first step in value is to have a marketing message, have something to offer. What do you have to offer as a wholesaler? I buy houses. Very simple. I buy ugly houses, right? I buy ugly houses. Simply put that message out there as many times as humanly possible and serve as many people as possible. Then you get to make money. That's how it works. That's really truly how it works. Okay. The last thing I want to share with you in terms of value is this: everyone has some kind of pain. Okay. The idea of the four pillar question I just gave you is to find out where the pain points are. So that's another thing you want to find. You're looking to find problems. You're looking to find questions so you can answer them. You're looking to find a pain point, right? So you can give them information, make them feel good about a potential solution, a potential something that can replace that pain with pleasure, with a pleasurable experience, right? And that's how you bring value to the marketplace. If you bring value to the marketplace, like I said, it comes in multiple dimensions. We're talking about just a marketing message to create an ad out there, or you're picking up the phone, you're calling people, or you're pushing ads out there. Whatever it is that you're doing, you need to do it in multiple in mass. But again, it's multiple dimensions, right? There's the width you play when you reach out to cold market, meaning people that have never met you ever before in their lives. But there's also a depth part of it where you're digging deeper, and the deeper you can go, um, the more value you put out as you're having that conversation with each one of these people that respond. It will determine how deeper you can go, how deep you can go into a relationship with that person. So this is the second part of this series, A by V by 3C. Okay, AxVx AxVx3C. You can Google that to see the rest of the series. Make sure you watch all of it, okay? Make sure you watch the first one before you go to the second one, to the third one, and stuff like that. Make sure you are paying attention to that. You can simply Google it with my name, Ola Talks Abitogun, and you can come up with all of them. They will come right up on YouTube or Google, anywhere you're searching, and you can watch all of the series. But this series right here, if you take it to heart, listen to them over and over and over again, it will really, really help you in your business. Hopefully, you've been enlightened and educated. Don't forget, go get the book. It's now going to be free by the end of today. SmartRealEstateWholesaling.com. Free PDF is free on audible.com, as a free audio if you're signing up for the trial as well. Hopefully, you've been enlightened and educated. I'll see you on the next one, and peace.